Sometimes, classically Abby gets a little wild and tries to drum up the views she had in the old days when she could get 1 million views for telling women why they should dress modestly or why she came out as conservative. But without running ads, well, her attempts last year fell far short. Nonetheless, she still attempts forays into social and political commentary, and today we're going to have a look at one of them. Specifically, the lies the left tells women that apparently make Abby furious. I'm just going to end up eating the microphone at this rate, but anyway, hi and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we're having a look at the leftist lies that make Abby furious. Allegedly. I'm not entirely sure I buy that she's furious, but watching this video, I had a breakthrough. I think I know why Abby makes the content she does. And yes, I'm saving this groundbreaking revelation for the final thoughts section. Let's get into it.
In today's video, I want to talk about 5 things that the left tells women that just make me mad. I saw this on another person's channel. They did this thing where it was like 5 things in their field that make me furious. And I thought that was super fun.
In their field? Is this Abby saying she's a political commentator?
And I've got some things that make me furious, so I'm ready to talk about it. Not happy? Let's get into it.
I could be totally off, but I think that she's actually enjoying herself. She says she's furious, but the energy vibe I'm getting is not anger.
Number 1, why does the left insist on telling women that sex with random people is empowering?
I feel like I just talked about this, but no, it's not have sex with random people, then you'll be empowered. If you don't want to have sex with random people, you're not going to feel empowered by doing that. The empowerment comes from being able to make that choice for yourself without being ostracized by society for not conforming. Although, to be frank, I do think Abby, staunch, freedom-loving conservative that she is, would actually be fine shunning people who do not conform to what she thinks societal standards should be.
It's not. It's just not.
Well, that was convincing.
Having sex with one man who loves you, respects you, wants to have a family with you, that's empowering. That's pretty awesome. Because you want to know what's really empowering is a guy who loves you enough to want to make you feel good.
Is she talking about orgasms? Oh my.
As opposed to a guy who wants to have a one-night stand and is looking for his own pleasure. Have you considered that? That a guy who is devoted to you, who loves you, who's going to spend his life with you, cares whether or not you are having fun. A guy who is never going to see you again cares if he is having fun.
I think this is the closest Abby will ever get to admitting that the orgasm gap exists. Though, of course, she would say it's because women are having sex when they're not married. Obviously, a wedding ring will suddenly make a man attentive to sexual needs besides his own.
Which is more empowering? Which is more empowering? A situation where if you got pregnant, the guy was ready and willing to have children with you, is excited about it, wants to be the father of your children?
I'm just going to jump in here and note that not all men and not all women want to have kids, so married or no, they would not be excited about a potential pregnancy.
Or having sex with a guy who would absolutely panic if you told him that you were pregnant and that this would be a big problem.
It's important to talk about these things before you sleep with someone.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that having sex with people outside of marriage is not empowering. It's easy to convince yourself and lie to yourself and say, well, I like sex. So if I like sex, then it must be empowering for me to get it however I want it.
Abby is making some choices in this video.
No, that's just wrong. And it's stupid. Having sex with the person that you have chosen to build a life with, because, you know, sex is not just any other physical activity. It is a unique one. It is a special one that you share with one person, and that can lead to the creation of a baby. Yeah, keep that in marriage. Enjoy it with the person who loves you and cares about you, and stop treating sex like something you can do willy-nilly, because you shouldn't. And you can't.
People have been having sex willy-nilly since humanity began, but I'm so curious as to who she thinks is watching her videos. Based off her attitude, I think she's courting the LOL leftists are so stupid crowd.
And the left is doing women a real disservice by trying to convince them that sex outside of marriage with everybody and anybody is empowering.
I'm going to need a source for the claim that the left thinks women should sleep with anybody and everybody.
It's not. I've got quite a few videos on my channel about this, so if you are interested in hearing more, check them out. But yeah, that's number one, and it makes me furious.
Right. I'm trying to imagine getting so worked up over strangers' sex lives, but I just can't do it. Anyway, I've noticed these folks seem to think you're either hooking up with random strangers every night or waiting for marriage, and that's really weird to me. Partly because I never believed in waiting for marriage, since I don't believe in marriage, and partly because I can't imagine having sex with strangers. I guess I kind of do something in between, where I have sex with people I know and care about, who know and care about me, but I imagine Abby would still disapprove because there's no wedding certificate involved.
Number 2, shout your abortion. Get an abortion. Have an abortion rather than have a baby.
Has Abby considered that if herself and her ilk weren't so insistent on demonizing abortion, things like shout your abortion wouldn't exist? If conservatives didn't spend so much time and money online about the side effects of abortion, trying to run out the clock so it's too late to have an abortion, and trying to shame people who have one, there would be no movement to normalize it because it wouldn't be needed. Conservatives love to do this. They talk about how the left is degenerate and against everything normal, but they're the ones driving the conversation. If they didn't try to pass bills taking rights away from people, we wouldn't have to spend so much time talking about abortion or about gay people or about trans people. Conservatives try to pretend the left is obsessed, and you know what? We are. We're very obsessed with the idea of humans having human rights. Crazy, right? Abby is going to talk about how the left tells women they need to have abortions because they can't be mothers and career women and blah, blah, blah. I'm fast forwarding. It is telling, however, that she thinks the left not trying to restrict abortion means we think it's the best option. And you know, this actually does make me furious. Not because I think abortion is a great thing that every woman needs to experience, but because if you don't have bodily autonomy, you have nothing. And to me, this is confirmation that my country sees me as my reproductive organs and nothing more. And outlawing abortion does so much more than make it more difficult to procure, which I bet Abby has never even thought about, as she claims abortion is what actually harms women. If Abby truly cared about women and babies as she claims, she would educate herself on what actually happens when you restrict abortion. She would educate herself on the abysmal infant and maternal rates in the US. She would use her platform and connections to advocate for better. But she doesn't. Does she truly believe railing against abortion and cheering when it's outlawed is saving babies? Possibly. But I can't take someone who claims to be pro-life seriously when they think outlawing abortion is all that needs to be done to protect life. After birth, you're on your own. Sucks to be you. She lives in a fantasy.
It is good for women to have the option to murder their child so that they can pursue their careers. No, that's wrong. None of that's true. And this makes me so mad because number 1, it's murder. Okay, get down off the table. Number 2, no woman is better off for killing their child. Women can tell themselves that they are. They can tell themselves that they're better off for having killed their child so that they could have a more stable life. But women who abort their children know that it's a child. They know, and it's their baby. And they're doing something harmful not only to another person but to themselves. Why don't we encourage women to embrace their natural strength as mothers and tell them that they can do this thing that seems so scary, instead of telling them that they just can't handle it and this is the right time, they should just get rid of this human that was put into their care by themselves, presumably, because in 99% of cases, women who get pregnant and want an abortion, it was because they had sex of their own volition and then were like, oh, whoops. Another reason why sex is not empowering. This is just a horrible lie that the left has perpetrated against women, that abortion is the best option or a good option or an option at all. Abortion is wrong. It's bad for women. It hurts them. And I truly am furious about this. Number 3, fulfill your potential.
Why is telling people they should fulfill their potential a bad thing?
Fulfill your potential, ladies.
I would never have suspected it of her, but is Abby high in this video? She's just acting really odd. She says she's furious, but that's not the vibe I'm getting.
You can't fulfill your potential unless you get out of the house.
Is this Abby's confession that she never leaves her house?
How are you going to show how smart you are unless you have an amazing career? I hate that. I hate that.
So don't. No one is going to make you do anything. Give up your channel, your speaking engagements, your Substack, and focus on your family if that's what you want.
Why can't a woman fulfill her potential at home raising her children?
Well, I don't know, Abby. Perhaps you would like to tell us why you feel the need to be a content creator when you have a young child. Is it because you feel you have potential in other aspects of your life than just one?
What does potential even mean? Why do I have to prove my potential to people who think of me as replaceable, rather than fulfilling my potential to the little humans I am raising who I literally could not be replaced? Like, I was made to be their mother. They cannot replace me as their mother.
So then, I trust Abby will be announcing her support for UBI any day now.
So why do we tell women that the only way that they can fulfill their potential is outside of the home, in a job, in a career?
That's not a leftist thing, Abby. That's a capitalist thing. And as a conservative, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to be all for capitalism. Now, corporations, that includes media corporations, put some bows on it to make it sound empowering, but it's still just capitalism with a little gloss on it. She hammers on this a lot, and it's really interesting because there are people who would like to stay home with their kids and not go to work every day, but they can't afford it. And where is Abby? Well, the husband, because we all know she wouldn't support stay-at-home fathers, better get a better paying job. And that's it. She'll argue about how being home is better for the children, but she won't support anything that could make that more feasible. And then there are women who actually like working, whether they have kids or not. Not out of some misplaced sense of guilt that they have to prove their potential, but because they like talking to other adults and exercising their brains. Both are fine. And Abby takes it way too personally. Again, no one is going to make her do anything. I don't think any of us would be upset if she decided to quit content creation to focus on her family, though she is easy content.
I hate that kind of language because it makes it as though if you stay at home, you have failed or you're not living up to how smart you are. Like, what are you talking about?
My reaction to this whole video.
The most important thing you can do is build a home and build your family. Like, why do we make it so that women have to show off that they have done something that is visibly fulfilling their potential?
I think Abby is looking down at us from her privileged palace again. In fact, I would be willing to bet she's never even had an acquaintance that didn't have some sort of high-paying or high-powered job. Do most Americans believe their jobs are how they fulfill their potential? Because that's not a question I've even gotten to consider. I've always thought when I was cashiering and making lots of coffee, literally I was just making pots of coffee, I wasn't even a barista, that I was capable of more, but that didn't matter. I had to make money and those jobs are easy to come by. Where I am now is a matter of luck and good timing, and it took a long time to get here. Most of us just have to work. We don't get the luxury of deciding if our job fulfills us.
And it's like, if any person can be a mother because you don't need a degree to get pregnant and have a baby, then there's no credit given to the women who do motherhood well.
I have to admit, I'm a firm believer in not doing something just to get praise for it because you're sure to be disappointed, but I would like to know what sort of credit she would like given to mothers who do motherhood well. Also, what does doing motherhood well look like? And what about fathers? Also, who would be giving this credit?
Who care about it and really put in effort.
I have a hunch we're going in the direction of stay-at-home mothers should receive credit for being stay-at-home mothers because they care about motherhood and really put in the effort, unlike working mothers who just dump their kids at daycare.
I hate that kind of language.
Yeah, I really don't care for what you were insinuating.
No. You fulfill your potential
by doing things that are important to you that make you feel fulfilled.
By just being a good person. By being a good mother. You don't have to get this high-powered career to prove you're smart or to prove you're ambitious or to prove you did a good job. Stupid. I hate that.
You absolutely should be a good person no matter what you do. And what I've noticed since entering the corporate world is that a lot of it comes down to who you know. So having a high-powered career doesn't necessarily mean anything about you. It's really weird to see a conservative say that careers are stupid. And if a man decided to drop out of the rat race to be with his family, I bet she would be singing a different tune.
Number 4, be body positive. I hate this language. Okay, so here's my issue with this whole body positivity movement, and I've talked about this a lot. So, number 1, we encourage women to love their bodies, but not loving their bodies where they're at and for what they do, while also encouraging them to be healthy and lose weight and or gain weight if needed. We encourage people to love their bodies where they're at, and that's beautiful.
So then, what's the problem?
But really, it's very unhealthy, and it doesn't encourage women to actually get to a healthy place with their bodies.
Really? Is Abby a doctor? A dietitian? A fitness trainer? Has she ever struggled with her weight or with food? To be honest, even if the answer was yes to any or all of these, she still wouldn't be qualified to say it's unhealthy to tell women to love their bodies where they're at. Because you know what, Abby? If you don't love your body, you won't care for it. You won't make an effort to be healthy. And to be even more honest, I don't buy that people who enjoy fat shaming are just trying to be encouraging or whatever lies they tell themselves. They want to feel superior, they want to put someone else down, and they don't want to feel bad about doing it. So they put it's just tough love spin on it. And I'm not buying it.
And at the same time, we encourage women to be immodest all the time.
I haven't seen or read anything encouraging women to be immodest, so I assume Abby's problem here is that women's clothing tends to be smaller and more sheer, to which I say, yay capitalism. Breaking news. Companies realize they can sell a handkerchief as a shirt and call it fashion, so they do it to save costs.
We put women in direct competition with each other by encouraging people to dress in a way that shows off their entire bodies. Like a fashion trend was a bra last season. You're just supposed to wear a bra out.
Like a bikini top? I have to admit, I've never felt like I'm in a competition with other women regarding what we're wearing. And I kind of wonder if Abby does because she actually doesn't want to dress modestly.
And it's like, oh no, we're body positive because fat women and skinny women and curvy women and boyish women can all wear these things and they should all wear these things. Who's gonna look better in these things? Come on. Why are we putting people in direct competition with each other by encouraging them to expose their bodies?
I'm assuming the competition is for the male gaze, and Abby is working under the assumption that men prefer thinner women, and thus this push to dress immodestly is disadvantaging larger women. But no matter how you dress, your body type is usually evident. The main thing is to wear what you want and to feel good in what you're wearing. And if Abby feels uncomfortable seeing certain women wearing certain things, that's for her to figure out.
When we're also telling them, like, love where you're at, you're so beautiful. We're not blind. People are smart. We can tell what's a healthier body than another.
I feel pretty confident in saying that Abby believes if you eat healthy and exercise regularly, it will be physically evident. I'm sorry to inform her that no, you can't tell if someone is healthy just by their body type.
And by exposing everything and encouraging people to expose everything, we're only doing a disservice to everybody.
So basically, Abby doesn't want to see people she doesn't think are attractive. Or she doesn't want to see people wearing fashions she doesn't think they should wear. Either way, not a good look for Abby. Sorry, but unless you're someone's doctor, you don't get to declare someone healthy or unhealthy.
It's so stupid. I'm so against the immodesty of our culture for a lot of reasons, but like this is one reason that I hate because it's so, these two things are paradoxical and they act like they're not, but they are. It's upsetting.
Abby likes to declare things paradoxical when they really aren't. All the rules about who can wear what, we made up, which means we can change the rules whenever we want. I'm very interested to know, however, what she's been reading or where she's been going that she sees women being pushed to just wear bras in public.
On top of which, I mean, the whole idea that you have to expose yourself to show that you're confident is so stupid.
That's not how it works, Abby. And also, are we supposed to be convinced that she's right because she calls things stupid?
You can be confident in your modesty. I cover up because I love my body and I respect it, and I only want to share it with one person who will show it the respect it deserves. Why do you get access, stranger on the internet, to my body and you don't care a lick about me? Like, no, we're not doing that.
And that is her right. No one is going to declare modest clothing illegal, so I'm really not sure. Oh, right. The issue is people making choices Abby wouldn't make. You know, conservatives talk a lot about the importance of freedom, but most of the time, it seems like they're scared of it, or at least of people besides themselves having it.
The body positivity movement, the immodesty of our era, like, I hate it. Just dress in a way that is attractive, not attracting.
Interestingly, I had a chat with a friend the night before filming this video, and he said that Abby does dress in an attracting manner and she wants to be attractive. There's nothing wrong with that, but she's peddling the notion that if you dress modestly, men will respect you as a person, whereas if you dress immodestly, they'll just think of you sexually. I think she's trying to convince us, and herself, that she has some control over how she's perceived and thus treated, but people should not treat you badly or as lesser based on their perception of what you're wearing. And clearly, though Abby thinks she's dressing in a modest manner designed to inspire respectful behavior, that doesn't mean it will be perceived that way. And she knows that very well from what happened last year, so I don't know why she keeps insisting it's on women to dress modestly so men will treat them respectfully.
That gives people an opportunity to see your personality and doesn't make people focus on your boobs.
Abby is full of She knows just as well as I do that no matter what you wear, if someone wants to leer at you, they're going to do so. And that is on the person being discussed, not on you for wearing something attracting.
Give people an opportunity to exercise and get healthy and well. Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Abby's issue with body positivity and immodesty, which she seems to be linking, weirdly enough, is that it encourages people to like themselves.
Last but not least is number 5. Women don't need no man. I was talking to Jacob about this because this concept bothers me so much.
It's a little funny to me that, for years, conservatives whinged about snowflakes and safe spaces, and here is Abby, conservative, talking about how the idea that a woman doesn't need a man bothers her. It has nothing to do with her. It's not saying men are useless or that you should be single, and for that matter, no one is campaigning to outlaw marriage. It's just saying that a woman doesn't have to be romantically involved with a man to be happy or complete. And though I think sometimes the phrase can be used harshly, I think it's true. Whoever you are, you should be happy and content with yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting companionship, romantic and otherwise, but if you think that will fill a void in your life, that's when people end up staying in bad, sometimes abusive, relationships because they're afraid of being single. And truthfully, I would rather be an addition to someone's life rather than something they need. And truthfully, saying a woman needs a man sounds to me like a woman just needs a man. Any man will do. And even more truthfully, I'm not unconvinced that Abby and her ilk don't actually think that so long as Susie and Luke have opposite parts, they can get together and just live with it. To which I say, no thanks, but we're not done with this yet, so maybe Abby will change my mind.
When we watch like girl power movies or movies that are directed towards women, there's so many these days that if they're not a chick flick, it's a movie where a woman needs to prove that she's independent at the end. So she doesn't have any man. She's like, look at me, I figured it out. I don't need any man to help me find myself because I'm so strong and empowered.
What the f***?
But movies that are geared towards men that teach them lessons are like, you know what's really important? Family. You know what's really important? Your wife. Why do we do that for men, which is correct?
I'm getting the distinct impression that Abby would prefer all entertainment to be propaganda. It must be exhausting to be a Shapiro. They can never simply watch a movie. They're constantly looking for political interpretations instead of just enjoying a movie that a group of people came together to create.
And do the opposite for women. Like, why are we encouraging women to not look for that stability, that love, that home that will bring them happiness?
So to be clear, men will bring a home and happiness to women, but women need to be told this through film. I've said this before, but wow, Abby has a really low opinion of men and women. We're all just sheep looking to the TV to tell us how to live our lives.
I mean, I get the idea that men are more pulled in the direction of wanting to just like screw around and not really be at home theoretically. Like they want to be more, they're more bachelors, and that women have more of a tendency to want to be married and have children. And so,
well, good job on being equal with the sexism, I guess. But if women are so inclined to be home and have kids, why does Abby have a problem with media that shows women doing other things?
maybe they're trying to make those women who haven't found that yet feel better about themselves, but don't encourage women to make those decisions. Like what?
Like what? Indeed. Women are not children, Abby. We do not need to be encouraged to make the right decision. And just because we make a decision for our own life that you disagree with, that does not make it the wrong one.
That's stupid. That's not good. It doesn't make anyone happy. I understand that we're trying to comfort those women who have not yet found this.
So to be clear, every time a book or a movie with a female lead ends without the woman getting married, it's to comfort unmarried women? That's an incredibly shallow take. Don't the Shapiros posture themselves as intellectuals? Also, as an unmarried woman, I don't feel better just because I see an unmarried woman on TV. I also don't feel bad about being single in my daily life, so is that truly so hard for Abby to understand?
But by making bad decisions, you're only making it harder for yourself to find a husband and to have children and have a home life. No, women are not better off by being independent and going off without a man and not needing someone. Everybody needs a partner. Men need women, women need men. Done.
And again, Abby forgets that not everyone is heterosexual. And while I agree that people do need people, it doesn't have to be man and woman, and it doesn't have to be romantic. And for that matter, it can be romantic, but without marriage.
Solved.
What? What did she solve? She didn't even make up a problem.
The mystery of the world has been solved.
There are mysteries in the world, and Abby has solved none of them.
So stop telling women that they are better off on their own and that they're stronger on their own.
There are people who say women are better off without men, but I'm going out on a very sturdy limb that is not what Abby is talking about. She's talking about movies like Waitress, where the main character breaks up with her abusive husband and her lover, and at the end of the movie, it's just herself, her daughter, and her 2 female friends. If there's no wedding or promise of a wedding, Abby doesn't like it. She doesn't like the idea that a woman can find happiness or fulfillment on her own. And it's not even about men. It's just a fulfillment of what Abby thinks life must be about. You grow up, you get married, you have kids. Deviation from that must be discouraged. It must never be shown that it is okay to be unmarried, to be childless, or anything that's not the norm.
No. Like, figure yourself out. But don't eschew men. Men are very good for you. They will make you better and you will make them better. Good. Congratulations.
What is she congratulating us for?
Gosh. The left is really doing a disservice to women. So these are the 5 things that are making me furious today. I'd love to know in the comments, what's something that's making you furious that the left is trying to tell women?
So as I mentioned earlier, I had a breakthrough when watching this video. Actually, I had 2 breakthroughs. Based on that last line, I think Abby hates the idea of women having options besides marriage and children. And please bear in mind that I don't know Abby. This is just something that occurred to me from watching so many of her videos. But I've noticed conservatives tend to have a very dogmatic approach to life. There is one right way to live and you must follow it. For the good of society, for the health of society, and indeed for your own happiness and fulfillment. So when Abby sees a woman, political figure or no, saying, I have sex with people I'm not married to, or I had an abortion, or I'm a size whatever and I love my body, and so on, she takes that as gospel. That woman said it, therefore it must be applied to everyone left of center, not simply something the woman says regarding herself. The idea that you can do something yourself and not demand others do the same is, I think, foreign to Abby. Or, well, I'm sure we're all aware of how conservatives think life is to be lived, so Abby figures the left has something similar, and since, of course, the 2 are opposites, the way leftists think life should be lived is the opposite of what conservatives believe. These are just my theories, though. Let's end on a high note. Abby recently began a podcast, and her first episode is titled, I'm Not Judgy, I'm Looking Out for You, which is something. It wasn't too interesting, but something she said stood out to me.
As I mentioned earlier, people think when I'm talking about being classic that I'm coming from a place of judgment, that I judge people who aren't classic, that I sit over here and go like, you're dumb for not doing what I'm doing. That's wrong. And it's stupid. It's so stupid. That's stupid.
Yeah, Abby isn't here to tell people they're dumb. She prefers the term stupid.
The truth is, when I'm talking about being classic, it comes from a place of wanting people to be happy.
And who is she to judge what will or won't make people happy? Oh, right, she's not judging. She's just telling us what will make us happy because she has our best interest at heart. Sorry, Abby, you can't revise history to claim that you're a warm and loving presence who accepts people as they are and just wants what's best for them. And the notion that you can boil unhappiness and discontent down to, well, just perform traditional gender roles and you'll be happy is so simplistic and doesn't take into account actual reality at all. And I thought I was done, but apparently not yet. I found it interesting that, shortly after telling women they don't need to prove their potential via a career, she decided to add a podcast to her channel, and apparently I wasn't the only one. I am glad you took the time to do your hair and your makeup. I'm going to be honest with you. The classiest thing you can do as a wife and mother is actually living a quiet, non-social media life. It's classy to take time on your cooking, time on your cleaning, time on your appearance, and time on caring for the individuals in your family. I understand that you want to feel purpose, but the most humbling, purposeful field is just what I said. It's best to leave the soapboxing to the men. They are stronger, they can protect themselves, and they can defend their family. That is why men can be in the public eye and women can't. By being in the public eye, you are opening yourself up to real threats you can't do much about in real life. Abby is not to blame for that attitude, but she is perpetuating it. And I bet she would disagree about living a non-social media life being classier. However, I also bet she wouldn't say it's because she enjoys it or just because she wants to be on social media. She would likely couch it in the terms of there needing to be conservative women out there talking about these things. Otherwise, the liberal women would be the only voices women would hear, which is what she's actually advocating for. Women should stay home with the children while the men go out and do things, but she is different. Abby has important things to say that women need to hear and that women won't hear from men. And she also found a neat workaround so that she can do all this from home. And I have to say, being Phyllis Schlafly is not something anyone should aspire to. The same person also commented this: be the great woman behind the great man. It is greater to be the unsung hero, which is very similar to Abby's claim that women's power is through men. To which I have to say, if it was so great to be the woman behind the man, we wouldn't need people telling women how important and wonderful it is, and that messaging wouldn't only be for women. And that's it for this video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I would like to thank my patrons, and if you would like to help support the channel, my Patreon is linked below along with everything else. Liking, subscribing, commenting, and sharing are also great ways to offer support if you would like to. Have a great day, night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and fade to cats.